Hi. Taehyung Lovers, welcome back to the Taehyung Lovers channel around the world. And this time, don't you dare skip the first 3 seconds. Because what you're about to hear is not just an interview story. This is a small moment that turned into a global explosion. A moment that made ARMY fall silent and ask, what really happened to Kim Taehyung in April 2026? A detail that looked imperfect actually sparked a huge debate, triggered emotions, even made some fans angry, and others fell even deeper in love. This is not just about visuals. This is about a reality that the K-pop industry has been hiding all this time. In the middle of an exclusive session with Rolling Stone, this figure from BTS showed a side that had never truly been revealed to the public: fragile, honest, and surprising. From a small tissue in his nose, the 2.0 idea from J-Hope, to the controversial statement, I am on the lower end, none of it was a coincidence. This is a signal. This is a change. And maybe this is the beginning of something far bigger than we ever imagined. In this video, we will uncover rarely discussed facts. How this simple moment shattered the standard of idol perfection. The hidden meaning behind the 2.0 concept that is starting to reshape their career direction. The emotional reactions of ARMY worldwide, who are split between anger and being deeply touched. And why Kim Taehyung actually appears stronger when he is not perfect. And one big question we will break down: is this a strategy or the boldest honesty in K-pop history? So before we go deeper, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. And most importantly, help this video go viral so the world continues to see the true kindness and honesty of Kim Taehyung. Because after this, the way you see an idol might never be the same again. April 2026 presented a moment that seemed small, yet shook global perception. In a softly lit studio, the atmosphere felt calm, too calm, for a meeting with global icons like BTS. But within that calmness, a simple detail transformed into a phenomenon that sparked emotion, debate, and even shock across the world. In an exclusive interview session with Rolling Stone, Kim Taehyung appeared in a way never truly seen before. He was not just present as a global star with millions of fans, but as a real human, fragile, spontaneous, and still professional in imperfect conditions. The camera captured the side of his face. His black hair fell naturally, slightly messy, forming the distinctive visual character that has become his identity. But one detail immediately stole attention: a small piece of tissue tucked into his nose. For some people, this might seem trivial. But in an entertainment world that is highly curated, details like this almost never appear. And that is exactly where its power lies. Instead of damaging his image, the moment strengthened it. The public, who are used to seeing perfection, were forced to face reality that even someone like Kim Taehyung can look less than ideal. Psychologically, this created a much deeper connection. His gaze turned to the side, focused and calm, as if absorbing every word in the conversation. Beneath that visual narrative, information emerged that J-Hope was the one who initiated the idea of 2.0, a simple term that later became a symbol of major transformation. As the atmosphere slowly shifted, the camera captured a much more intense moment. Kim Taehyung looked directly into the lens with sharp expression. His hair falling across his face created dramatic shadows that emphasized his nearly perfectly symmetrical features. But in the middle of that aura, a sentence emerged that shook public perception: I am on the lower end. This statement felt contradictory and triggered emotional reactions. How could someone considered a global visual icon see himself as being on the lower level? This question not only sparked curiosity, but also opened a much deeper discussion about pressure, standards, and humility. Behind the scenes, the conversation continued in a light tone. A staff voice was heard: wait, your nose is runny, before handing him a tissue. Kim Taehyung accepted it with a small smile and a simple thank you. There was no panic, no attempt to hide the situation. He continued the interview, discussing their creative process, including the early phase referred to as 2.0. This moment felt incredibly human, especially when soft laughter broke out among the members, reminding everyone that behind their global status, there's a warm and genuine bond. Even a joke about Jungkook being asleep added another layer that fatigue and humor are still part of their journey. From a style perspective, Kim Taehyung appeared in a classic black leather jacket, likely from major fashion houses, such as Celine or Saint Laurent, with a price range between $2,000 to $5,000 US, paired with a simple black t-shirt and minimal accessories. His overall look created an effortlessly cool impression, but what stood out most was not the price or the brand, but the way he wore it. There was no sense of excess. Even while having a cold, he still radiated strong charisma. This is where his true strength lies, not just visuals, but an aura that is difficult to explain. As the conversation continued, the studio atmosphere became more reflective. The members sat in a row, each carrying a distinct character. RM with his calm leadership charisma, Jin with stable elegance, Suga with an introspective aura, and Jimin with a softness that contrasts with the harsh world. There was no grand stage, no roaring audience, only honesty flowing through an intimate conversation. The concept of 2.0 resurfaced, this time as the core of their journey. Kim Taehyung explained that their creative process is not born from grandeur, but from silence, from small moments that often go unnoticed by the public. When the camera zoomed in again, his face filled the frame. His gaze turned more reflective, as if speaking to himself. "I am still on the lower level," he said again. This sentence was not just a statement, but a reflection of an ambition that never stops. He continued with a deeper confession that every album feels like homework that is never fully finished. This is not a sign of weakness, but proof that even at the peak of success, the desire to learn and grow remains the main driving force. And that is the essence of 2.0. Not about being perfect, but about having the courage to keep changing, learning, and moving forward. The final scene shows him standing in front of a glowing red background. 7 men with different auras, yet bound by one identity. Black outfits and leather create a firm, mature, and controlled impression. This is a visual representation of the new version of BTS, more mature, more self-aware, and more daring in exploring themselves. But behind that visual, there is still a deeper story. About limitations, about techniques they are still learning, and about honesty that is rarely shown in this industry. This April 2026 moment proves one undeniable truth. Perfection is no longer the main standard. In fact, within small imperfections in the tissue in the nose, in spontaneous jokes, in honest confessions lies a much greater power. And perhaps that is why millions of fans around the world not only admire Kim Taehyung, but also feel close to him. Now the question is simple, yet thought-provoking. Does this moment make you understand who Kim Taehyung truly is, or does it make you question everything you have believed about the perfection of an idol? And at this point, we are not just closing a story, we are witnessing a shift in how the world sees an idol. April 2026 proves that behind the brilliance of BTS, there's a real side of Kim Taehyung that can no longer be hidden. Not about being perfect, but about daring to be imperfect, and that is what shakes the world. Thank you for watching until the end. If you feel this content opened new perspective, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. If you don't like it, feel free to skip because the Taehyung Lovers channel never forces anyone. Now it's your turn. What do you think about this moment? Is this the boldest form of honesty or something we still don't fully understand? Write in the comments, because your voice is part of this story. Stay tuned for the next updates only on Taehyung Lovers. Keep following all the latest updates about Kim Taehyung only on this channel. This brings us to the end of our meeting. Thank you and see you again. Stay safe and be ready, because the story might not be truly over yet.